Welcome to today's session on Ellen's Keynotes Study Streak, Day 2. And today we'll be discussing about the next remedies. I'm not taking the order which is mentioned in the Ellen's Keynotes and alphabetical order, but it will be more of random connections between the remedies, and that's what I intend to do. So, good evening, Dr. Chandrasekhar. You are on YouTube, and we have many others on Instagram. So, let's begin with the next three remedies. And the remedies which I'll discuss today are Ethusa, Borax, and Calcarea carb. So, we discussed about abrotanum yesterday and how it has emaciation, and it also has the uh, you know uh, rheumatic complaints and some other skin issues, minor skin issues, etc., etc. But today we'll discuss a more or less an extended relationship of abrotanum, which is Ethusa, because it also cannot hold its head. That is what Ellen says. Now, when we read the Ellen's keynotes for Ethusa Synapium, the first line which it says is especially for children during dentition and in hot summer weather and children who cannot tolerate milk. So this is a season where it's transitioning. Now many places, especially in the mid of India to the south, monsoon has started, but still it's very hot. It was summer so far, and in the north it is still summer. So if you have a child in your home or in your relatives there, or in your clinic, if you have a child who is not able to tolerate milk, who requires this disturbance, where you see this disturbance, you can think of Ethusa as the remedy. There are a few areas where Ethusa acts, mainly the brain and the nervous system. So if we see, it has the you know epileptic spasms, and this phase will come somewhere later in the practice, or maybe an advanced stage of pathology which will be reported to you with complaints of babies getting some epileptic convulsions or fits or kind of a spasm, or it can be one sided spasm, and there is also vomiting or some emaciated child. So you can think of this remedy. And after spasm there will be lot of weakness, so the child will not be able to pick up his own body or move his own hands and legs. That will be the characteristic symptom. So after vomiting, after spasm, after sleep, there is lot of weakness. This is the keynote of Ethusa. You already I you heard, you must have heard in yesterday's session that abrotanum has this marasmus. Same is the case with Ethusa as well. There is inability to hold the head, especially the neck region, and there is lot of sleepiness, lot of weakness after the vomiting, stool, or spasm. Now there is complete absence of thirst, like we see in Apis and Pulsatilla, whereas we know that in arsenic there is completely opposite, which is what is mentioned in Ellen's keynotes. And there is inability to tolerate the milk in any form. It is immediately ejected as soon as it is taken, and it causes drowsiness afterwards. So if you must have read the Twitter thread which I posted a few weeks ago about Antim crude and Ethusa, what is the difference? There is a element of hunger and drowsiness which you need to know. Just go back to that post and you can read and you can understand what is the difference. If the child progresses to a great deal of weakness, long weakness, you will see that there is emaciation of the face as well, and then you will see this linea nasalis which is mentioned. It comes at a very later stage, so you don't expect it to happen all of a sudden, or patient will report to that with that symptom in your clinic. And you will see that there is kind of a idiocy. Now when you go and read the common name of Ethusa, the common name is mentioned as fool's parsley. It is mentioned in the Allen's keynotes that it is having inability to think or fix attention. Now, I don't know how many students are following, how many interns are following, or how many practitioners are following my channel, my content, but you will see that there is a kind of a inability to think. There is lot of sudden loss of memory. I remember a case in our college. There was a student who had studied so well for the exam. He had by hearted everything about the subject pathology, and at the time of exam he was completely blank. Had he been given Ethusa Synapium, he would have got that consciousness, and he could have achieved that ability to write and produce what he had read. So if you are at a stage where there is lot of uh, study done, and then you come at a phase where you cannot think, there is complete brain fag, and you have your examinations tomorrow, or you have to appear something for some vital session tomorrow or in a few days, and you can't think, take Ethusa 30 or 200 or 1M, and you will see that there is a kind of a very drastic improvement with Ethusa, and that is why it is named as fool's parsley, or maybe you can say that it's named as fool's parsley, and that's why it works well in a lot of such cases. So summer complaints and inability to digest milk, lot of complaints after sleep, after vomiting, after spasms, you can think of Ituza. The next remedy which we should go and think of, an extension of Ituza, and also some element of fright, which is borax. So, if you understand from the different literatures, or just if you study Allen's keynotes, that will be more than enough for you to understand the gist of borax. One of the things that is mentioned in Allen's keynotes is that there is dread of downward motion. Now, this will be a remedy which you can think of in children who are just not yet started to walk, and when uh, they are learning to walk, and they fear that they will fall down from the stairs, or when you put them in the crib they will kind of get frightened or show the startling behavior, or children who have started to walk and they feel that they will kind of have this fear that something will happen if they see the stairs. You can think the other remedy which is in comparison with borax is sanicula. So yesterday we had discussed something about sanicula, that abrotanum is somewhere, an extension of abrotanum you will see in sanicula. In fact, sanicula is a combination of many remedies. We'll come to it in a few days once we discuss all the other peripheral remedies, and then we come to sanicula. So borax is such a remedy which will be easily frightened, very nervous, very scared. And one very important thing which borax will always have is that it will have apthe. We have all given it in apthe, but there is a characteristic indication. Now, when especially the children are brought, especially the small children, you can ask the mother whether she can feel that there is lot of heat in the mouth of the child. They usually uh, put the finger and check. Once they check it, they say that it is very hot. So I had one case where this mother was telling that the child has lot of red small papillae on the tongue, and if I'm putting the finger in the mouth, I can feel that there is lot of heat inside. He may be having fever internally, but actually it is a local heat. And if you know local heat, you should know sulfur very well. So borax and sulfur are complementary remedies. Apthe and this local heat in the mouth, you should think of borax. That is the characteristic. There will be redness, there will be apthe, there will be hot feeling in the mouth. Either the patient will tell or the mother will tell if the it is a child. There will be skin complaints, as you all must have studied from Ellen's keynotes. There will be frizzy hair or untangled hair in the especially the edges, and they cannot be combed well, just like fluoric acid or lycopodium or soranum or tuberculinum. So there will be hair issues in small children or some women, where you can think of this kind of borax as a remedy. And especially the eyelashes, so complaints of not the eye specifically inside the inner canthi or meibomian glands or something, but something related to the eyelashes, which will kind of trouble the patient, and make the patient feel that there is lot of stickiness in the eyes, or there is infection in the eyes, which will trouble the child. Now, one of the most underrated things for borax, if you read the Allen's keynotes, and you have some patients for coryza, you will know that borax is one of the underrated remedies for prescription of coryza. Borax has a coryza which will have stoppage of nose, or it will have discharge from the nose which is watery, thin paper, water like, and there will be stoppage of right and then left nose, or maybe alternating, just like laccan or magmure and ammonium carb. So, before thinking of remedies which are natramure or allium cepa or arsenic, we should give a thought to borax, because it is one of the most underrated remedies. Patient may feel that there is lot of heat inside the nose, inside the mouth, or uh, internally, and he wants to express that symptom with the coryza, which is alternating with the stoppage. Think of borax as the remedy, and you will get good success. Urinary complaints are also very important. For example, in children who have some issues with passing the urine, and especially before the urine, they will cry, they will scream, they may have infection, they may have some issues. Just like Lycopodium, Sanicula, Sarsaparilla, you can think of borax as the remedy. And in females, you see that there is a mention of leukorrhea, which is profuse albuminous. So this comes at a very later stage. As of now, we can just focus on what are the indicated, indications for the, frequently seen acute conditions. Borax for leukorrhea may be thought in relation with another remedy like Bovista or Conayam or some other remedies. We may take it up again when we cover those remedies. And like Ethusa and like Abrotanum we discussed yesterday, Borax also has some skin issues, and every little injury of Borax will suppurate. So Borax is a kind of a acute satellite, I would say, for calcarea carb. So when you read Clark, when you read Herring, when you read uh, Boric, etc., you will see that they have mentioned belladonna, rustox as the acute satellites of calcarea carb. So there are many such acute satellites for calcarea carb. Borax is one of them. So keep in mind borax. Another remedy to think of as an acute satellite for calcarea carb is also Kali bichromicum. We'll come to it very soon in few days. But as of now, since we discussed borax, if you have a child who is very much plethoric or fat and flabby and has ulcer complaints and red mouth or heat in the mouth, you can think of borax or coryza, which is alternating sides and thin discharge, not progress to the stage of sticky discharge, yellow discharge, thick discharge, not progress to the stage of kali bichromicum. You can think of borax. So borax follows calcarea carb, and you can then even give calcarea carb if it is indicated for that particular case. Borax also follows sanicula and sulfur. So it's a kind of having few symptoms of sanicula, few symptoms of calcarea carb, few symptoms of soranum, few symptoms of sulfur. And in this way, when you learn about the different remedies which are in relation to borax, you will understand more better in terms of prescription, which is very important. So the next remedy which we should always focus on, and that is calcarea carb. So calcarea carb is frequently prescribed left, right, and center by many of our homeopaths, whether you are a beginner or a senior practitioner. and we should, because it is one of the building blocks for human physiology. So you see a patient who is mild, timid, very fearful, suddenly frightened, and you can think of calcarea carb. Uh, it has a similar feature like semisifuga, where the patient says that I feel fear that, if I do some act, someone will observe, or I don't do these steps or these acts because I feel that someone will tell me something bad. And that is where it is fear of being observed, of a mental condition or confusion, which calcarea carb has. And we can compare this with semisifuga. Now, in the classical picture, we always see that there are large heads, fontanelles are open, sutures are open, bones developed slowly. And one of the things which, as a general feature in calcarea carb, we should know is that localization is there. So there is coldness of single parts, there is sweating of single parts, and there is kind of you know localization in these areas. So patients will have either sweat in one part, chest, head, occiput, or there will be coldness with the sweating or without the sweating. If there is heat in local parts or single parts, think of sulfur. If there is coldness in single parts, think of calcarea carb. We always prescribe calcarea carb to all the growing children, but the differentiation should be done when you want to prescribe calcarea carb to a girl who is growing rapidly. I had one interesting case of a teenage girl who was growing much faster as compared to her age, in terms of her weight, in terms of her height, and she had some issues with her menarche, and I prescribed her calcarea carb, and she improved very well. So in girls who grow rapidly, who grow fast, you should think of calcarea carb, whereas in boys who grow rapidly and very fast, you should think of calcarea phos. That is the difference, and once you understand this, you'll be in a better position to prescribe. And of course, bone related issues or ossification related issues, delay in walking, learning to walk, or children who cannot start to walk early because they fear or they don't have the strong bones, you can think of calcarea carb. It should be repeated frequently, maybe 30 or 200 potency at frequent intervals, 3 times a day, 4 times a day. There is no issue in repeating every day, because that is a phase where it requires. Once the children are in teenage or adulthood, you can maybe think of reducing the repetition. Another thing what we see for calcarea carb is that monsoon has started in all the parts of India, and you will have people wading in the water and developing few complaints. So whenever they are reporting to you with maybe cold, cough, or urinary complaints, you can just ask them if they have waded through water. If also they have skin complaints, calcarea carb should be indicated, because it is one of the top remedies which has complaints brought on by standing or walking in cold water. Another few remedies again you can think of is dalkamara, and also uh, you will see rust talks, of course. So there is a question from Dr. Priyanka Madan. Please suggest for delay height growth from your experience. I think you should give 5-FOS as a biochemic, and you should also give, based upon what constitutional remedy comes up, maybe calcarea carb or calcarea phos. Most of the cases will either have calcarea phosphorus or calcarea phos or calcarea carb coming as the remedy in the in the constitutional case taking. So you can think of those remedies and maybe given low potency 30 frequently with the biochemic combinations. Perhaps that should help. I have always given that. So next, going to the gastric intestinal system, and there is a lot of acidity. One of the most underrated remedies for acidity complaints, and I would say that complaints which have sour eructation, sour vomiting, and sour smell of the body. When you check the patient, you can feel the smell, or maybe you can confirm from the relatives if it's a child whether the perspiration smells bad, and that would make you think of calcarea carb, sorinum being another remedy, or maybe hepar and rheum is one of the remedies. So rheum will have a kind of a state where the child is being managed by some caretaker, and the mother and father are both away from work, and when the mother and father come back, the child gets hyper, he wants to be cared, he wants to be loved. So if this is a situation, think about rheum. We will cover it in the next few comparisons as well when we come to those remedies, or maybe in boric materia medica streak, which we'll be doing in the next month. And one of the places where calcarea carb should also be indicated is for too early menstruation, which I already shared a case. Those who have joined later on, you can again go back to the recording. And also, least mental excitement brings on the flow, which is difficult to elicit, but if you can elicit it in your clinic, you will be able to pick it up very easily. So one of the things which also in the gastric sphere mentions, Allen's keynote mentions, is that feels better in every way when he is constipated. Now, patient would not come and tell you that I am feeling better because I did not pass the stools for few days, but maybe you can ask whether there was a passage of stool today or yesterday, and he will say no, it was just 3 days ago, and since that time I didn't have the desire. And then maybe it's your turn to ask whether there is any discomfort, and he will say there is no discomfort. So that way you can bring out the symptom that he feels better by constipation, or he feels okay, that even though he's constipated, there is nothing wrong with his life. Some people have discomfort immediately the next day if they don't pass the stool. Some people don't develop discomfort. Those who don't develop discomfort, you should think of calcarea carb as a remedy. Now, coming to the last point where there is aggravation and amelioration. Aggravation, of course, for calcarea carb, we know that there is cold air, wet weather, or cold water or washing, just like anti-crude Ellen's keynote mentioned. So tomorrow maybe we'll take up anti-crude and a couple of related remedies. And there is also mention of during full moon, which is aggravation. So one of the most underrated ways of prescription which we have never focused upon is the phases of moon, and I have prepared a very good document to share with you all very soon. So you'll understand if we are giving remedy on a certain day, especially these deep acting constitutional remedies, they will influence us towards cure, or the patient towards cure very fast, more than uh, more faster than what we normally give randomly the medicines. Now, coming to the relationships, which is very important aspect, as I told with you all in the previous few minutes ago, previous remedy Porax, that belladonna and rustox are the acute satellites. So belladonna we know, rustox we know. We'll also cover it in our sessions. But there are a very group of remedies like cupromet, like borax, and many other remedies like carboanimalase and other remedies which are very much complementary and kind of an uh, acute satellites, or phases of certain symptoms which are seen in those remedies, because they are carbon, and all the carbon remedies may more or less have similar symptoms. So we also had this kingdom workshop which we had taken in the last month, and in the April month, and you all can avail the recordings, those who wish to know about the plants, minerals, and animals, and how will you constitutionally locate for those symptoms in the clinic from the patients. So coming to the relationships again, in children, it is told that by Len and also by all the other professors and teachers that it has to be repeated frequently. So as I told to you, I have also given 30 potency 4 times a day, 5 times a day, maybe 3 hourly, and in senior or geriatric cases, it should be not be repeated too often. Although I have not found that any damage happens by repeat giving it twice a day or maybe every 4 or 5 days of one dose or something like that. But it's personal experience, so repetition and potency is always a personal experience. And if you want to start a chronic case where you feel that the patient has traces of lycopodium or sulfur or deep antisoric case, you should think of calcarea as one of the remedies to start with, and then you can give lyco or nux or phosphorus. So if it is used before these remedies, those remedies get more chance to have a clear way to prescribe and get the results. So today we have covered Ethusa, borax, and calcarea carb, and there are very beautiful illustrations which we have posted in the profile. So do go through it because it gives you a good map about the relationship of the remedies we are discussing, which will make your learning more exciting and more interesting. So anyone who wish to ask any questions, please feel free. So we can answer those and we make a move very soon after that. There are 4 video requests, but that is for request to join the session. I don't know if you have anything to say, but glad to see active participation on YouTube from Dr. Chandrasekhar and Dr. Priyanka Madan. So we'll make a move and see you all tomorrow, 6 p.m. with few sets of remedies which are kind of related and some clinical experience based upon that.